Music Theology, Lecture 13, the music science portion, 4 pages, but relax. Let's do a little review here. You should have these down cold, man. Now, those folks that had almost no musical background at all, could never look at a hymnal and the notes on it and make any sense of it, you're going to have to study some during the week because it's a foreign language to you. But we're starting to get out of the woods some and starting to see things a little clearer, hopefully. Now, look at this. You got a sharp. That first thing is a sharp. The middle one is a flat, and the other one is what we call a natural sign. It means it's not sharp or flat at all. Okay, that's a natural sign. You only use a natural sign when you got it flatted or sharp before that, and you want to say, no, it's the normal note. What does a sharp do? Raises it up to pitch a half a step, as they call it. What does a flat do? Lowers it a half a step in pitch. Now let's deal with time signatures here. I didn't put time signatures, but if you had like 4/4 time or 3/4 time, the bottom number relates to what note will be our reference note. So that 4 on the bottom. And remember, this reference note is going to be equal 1 beat. So you should already know this, but just look up here. It'll be easier to do this. So 3/4 time, forget the 3 right now, but you got the 4 on the bottom. Well, this is how I do it. I just get rid of the 3 for a second and make it a 1. 1/4. Quarter. Quarter note. Quarter note gets 1 beat. If it's 3/8 time, forget the 3. We don't have to deal with that right now. It's got an 8 on the bottom, right? So put a 1 there. 1/8 is 1/8. Eighth note. Eighth note gets 1 beat. If it is 6/8 time, well, get rid of the 6 for a little bit. You got an 8. Put 1 over. Eighth note gets 1 beat. How about 3/2 time? 3/2 time. Throw out the 3 for a second. Put a 1 there. 1 over the 2. Half. Half note gets 1 beat. What it's going to be? This is a beat. Boom. Boom. That's a beat. Give me a beat. Next, the top note. What does that mean?
How many beats per measure? How many beats per measure?
You sure you're right?
Yes, sir.
Louder.
How many beats per measure?
All right, that's correct. That's it. So 3/4 time, forget the 4. The 3 means 3 beats
Per measure.
per measure. That's your measure. In 6/8 time, it is 6 beats per measure. Putting those two together helps you understand what you're doing here if you're playing it. Now, typically we sing a hymn, you just sing along with it and aren't concerned. But when you get into more where you're playing a solo or singing a solo or having parts in a song, it helps a lot. Or if you're leading it, pastors, oftentimes when you plant the church, you're going to be leading the music and you have no clue about it, like many pastors do, then it's going to be in trouble. As far as I know, these are the only denominator numbers dealt with in time signatures, i.e. 2, 4, and 8. So on the bottom, we already said that in the last couple lessons. You just got 2, 4, or 8 to deal with on the bottom. So that's all you gotta know. The bottom number explains to us which note is equal to 1 beat, where I said that. Top number relates to the number of beats per measure in the other bit. Look at this next thing now. So those notes, you should know those. But, review. Whole note. See that? Half note. How many beats does a half note typically get? Like in 4/4 time, standard time is 2 beats. Quarter note usually gets 1 beat. Eighth note gets half a beat. 16th note gets half of that, a quarter beat. Look at the rest. Now this is the only tricky part. Well, I say the only tricky part in the rest is the first 2. You might say all of them, but memorize it. The whole note is, however you want to describe it. I say hook to that top. Hook to the top. Not in the middle or the bottom. See how this other one looks like it's in the middle? But you're looking for the one hooked to the top. There's a line that's hooked up there. That is a whole note. However you want to describe it, I don't care, but that's the one. No, that's a whole, the other one's a half. Then you see the quarter note, 8th note rest, and 16th, sorry, not note, but 16th rest. They have the same value in beats as above. Review, that's all it is. Alright, and then we have a dotted quarter note. So that is basically a quarter note plus an 8th note, or 1.5. Well, in 4/4 time, it's 1.5 beats. And 6/8 time, it's different. But it's normal time, it's 1.5 instead of 1. Then you got the dotted 8th note. Well, you add half of that note's value. So you got an eighth note plus half of that would be a 16th note. So it's 3/4 of a beat. How do you do 3/4 of a beat? Well, you just hang on to it a little bit longer. That's how I do it in my head. I don't know how Sister Hugh does it. I don't know if she can divide everything up into fourths of a beat in her head. I can't. So you just hold on to it a little bit longer. It has a skip to it. Usually have a 16th note after that. Now, key signatures. Not time signatures. Key. That's the flats or the sharps. See that there? Now, this is harder for me. This is hard for me. You see that first one? It's a flat on what note? B. All cows eat grass. How's that thing doing? Is that right? All cows eat grass.
Oh no, I
How
don't
you do
teach
it?
it
You don't
that
do
way.
that? Okay. But that is going to be a what letter note? A B.
B.
Right? Tell me if I'm wrong, sister. A B. B
Yeah,
flat.
It's a B.
Okay.
It's a B.
Okay. Because clef notes. The clef I don't know. And then the top, the sharp one is a F sharp. Now, how do I know that? I just memorize that when I play the saxophone. I just know those. But having to do the letters all the way up, I have trouble with that. Key signature. Sharps and flats are not usually written next to every note which is played sharp or flat. So you have a key signature. Instead, these sharps and flats are indicated by this key signature. Didn't we already cover that? Or is this new? Is this new? I think this, oh, this is new, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. We're not reviewing anymore. So, sorry. So when you see a song, it may begin like that one symbol there with the flat. It may be like that. That means every time a note is on that line, which would be a B, it is going to be flatted. Unless it's got a natural sign with it. Or sharp, I suppose. But it's going to be flatted otherwise. And this other one, if the song starts off with the sharp up there, the F sharp, then all those notes that are on that line, half note or quarter note, whatever note it is, on that line is sharped, unless otherwise stated. So it's easier, instead of putting all these sharps and flats for the song, just think if you had 5 sharps. You're going to want to play, I don't know why you would, but it's typical with piano players, they understand that. You want all those sharps in there, you just put them all at the beginning and they say, every one of those notes is that way, otherwise. That's what a key signature does to me. A key signature is a group of sharps or flats at the beginning of a staff, the lines there, which indicates the notes which are to be played sharp or flat throughout the whole musical piece, unless they have a change, right, sister, in the key signature? Because in a song
Yes.
it can change, and you'll see it'll change. But like in our hymns, I don't think they ever change. Do they? Standard hymn?
Some do,
Some
but
do?
not
Not too common.
Not too common.
Okay. Key signatures are generally used in a score to avoid the complication of having sharp and flat symbols on every instance of certain notes. It makes it just cleaner. Turn the page. Sharps and flats in the key signature apply to all notes with the same letter name. Oh, regardless of octave. So this is important. I don't know how to explain that right now, but I'll try. So an octave, go back to the other page. Or actually, no, stay here. Sorry. America the Beautiful, you see that? Now, where does it show? Does it show anywhere? Oh, go down a ways to the thing that's kind of in the middle. It's a little lighter color where they have the C sharp and the C sharp and the C sharp, all those C sharps. You see that? Where it says C sharp? 2/3 of the way down? Okay, that'll explain the octave thing. So, what you see there, the C sharp, the first one is a C, okay? And it's sharped because of the key signature there, and it has a sharp sign where that is at. It also has an F. It's going to be sharp, but we're not dealing with the F right now. So when you see a C, any C, whatever octave you're dealing with, an octave is 8 notes away? Or is it 7 notes? 8. 8 notes away is another one. Da, 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 da. That's the full 8 notes. I just know that in my head. So you sharp that one, you sharp that one, you sharp anything that's a C. The F that's up here. Anything that's an F is sharped. L sharped, it would be happy with that. Okay. Let's go on. America the Beautiful. We're not going to sing it, but look at that. Look at the first line, the key signature there. You got sharps, you got 3 sharps. Forget the letter names right now. But just know that 8 notes down or up from that is going to be sharped also. Now you may say, how, pray tell, can I know that? I don't know how to say that, Sister Hewen, except you just get to know it. I know that in general, without the ledger line showing, it's in 1 octave and you're safe. Once you start getting up, you know where you have to write the lines in, then it gets confusing. Well, you just know what sounds right. But if you're playing a piano or an instrument, you got to hit the right. You can't just guess with your voice. You got to hit the right note. So it matters. So it's just getting familiar with what an octave is from, let's say, what's that note? An E? The first note?
Yes.
An E. Okay, and then what the E above that would be. So the top line is an F, right?
Yes.
Okay, the next note would be
Down, E.
Oh, yeah. The space in between the top line and the second line down is an E. So that would be sharped. Also. Well, this thing isn't even sharp.
No,
Never mind.
it's not
okay,
sharp.
if it was sharp, I should say.
Yes.
Sorry. But you see the C here, and I go over to the next measure, first full measure, that bottom one with the ledger line in it, going through it is a C, and we got a C sharp. An octave above it is sharped. I don't want to spend too much time here. You see this one here? Look up. Right there, that is a C, a low C though, real low. But this line in the middle here, the space is sharped, and that's a C, so this is a C. You'll just have to memorize that. I'm not going to trick you on a test right now with that. Just know key signature sets the sharps or flats for the song. You see how you get things out? Okay, now look at the next line. So that's that key signature, and he's throwing in the sharps so you see where they show up at. There's the C sharp showing up. There's a C sharp. Oh, and then almost the last measure. You've got the F sharp and then the G sharp, it's called. You don't write all those in. You don't have to. Hallelujah, Brother Eric. You know that from the key signature. Look at the next section. All right, there's look at the flats. You have 4 flats. To me, I would be lost in that. But to a piano player, like my son Caleb or you, it's fine. Some love flats. I guess most piano players like flats over sharps. Is that right? I don't know why that is, but they do. But I see 3, 4, 5 flats or sharps, and I go, man, there's no way. Forget it. Playing the saxophone, I hated anything over 2 sharps. So I had to start thinking. Figure 5, it says, when a sharp sign appears in the C space in the key signature, all C's are sharp, unless you mark them with accidentals. Or I guess a flat sign, I don't know if you would do that. When you identify a sharp or flat within the measure, if you want to go back to the natural note, then you got to use that natural sign. See that big one there? So if you want to go back to that, that means changing it by a half step to its normal value. Here's how you do that. Look at this one down here. Now again, we didn't cover this officially, but when they're stacked on each other, that's like playing 3 notes at once on the piano. Or having different, you got an alto, a soprano, and maybe a bass singing together. And they'll sing 3 different notes. So that's why it's that way. That's not one note there when you see those 3 circles, 3 half notes. You can choose which note you want, Brother Eric. If you're so gifted with your singing ability, you would go, well, I would choose, obviously, the B. Okay, but the only thing that's sharp there is the F. You know that's an F, the bottom one. All right, the next one over, the only thing that's sharp on that one is the C. It's in the middle. Next one over is flat there. You got a B flat. I'm on the top line only. Okay? All right. That's just to give you an idea what you'll see in a hymnal. Next page. We're almost done here. We got about, a few minutes. Good. Grace greater than our sin. Let's locate the sharps in the above musical score. So take your paper and point out where, like I'm doing, kind of to me, so I can see what you think the sharp is. See what I'm doing? Kind of turn towards me and do the same thing. Can you do that? And point to me where you see a sharp. On the treble clef first. Let's go across the treble. Find a sharp and point it out. It's in the first measure. Find a sharp. Now, it's going to be hard because it's an octave lower. That is an F. Isn't it true, sister, that if you have one sharp, it's always going to be an F? Or no?
Yes. The key signature, there's only one. It's
always
the key
an F.
of G, but it's always
Okay,
an
so
F.
look up here for a second. This is maybe down the road if we ever get to it. if you have one sharp, you always know it's going to be an F sharp. That's the way they do it. If it's two sharps, it's always going to be a C and an F. If it's three, you're going to have the G. Okay, it's always going to be that way. So they don't just monkey around and say, it's going to be a B sharp in this song, just a B sharp. No. So it has to do with chords, and that gets beyond my ability. So find this F sharp. It's this one right here, the one on top in the second note. That's an F. Let's go a little further over. There we see it again. Beginning of the second line, second measure on the bottom. So you just go across here. Do you see any more? Yep. Down here. Right there. And there. And there. Okay. Then let's go to the bass clef, the bottom one. So it's always going to be this way. If you have one sharp in the song, it's always going to be this note that's sharped, if it's one. And that's on the line, not in between. It's a D? Is it a D? I don't think it's a D. Wait,
No, it's an F also.
Oh, that's an F? Okay. Oh, they're both Fs. Oh, I see.
Because it's the key of G.
Yeah, I don't do well in that. Oh, cousin. Alright. So where do you find that one at? Well, that one's easier because we don't have octave range to deal with. There it is. Bottom one at the end of the second measure. Any others there? No, just that one. So when you come to that note, that's sharped. And in your singing, you're going to kind of know, you kind of see how the song goes, and you would be expecting that note. I don't think this way when I sing. Oh, that's a F sharp. I'll hit the F sharp. I can't. Some people can just hit the note. Tell me to hit a B flat. I don't know. I don't know. Somewhere in there. Na 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 na. But some people can hit it right on the nose, which is amazing with their singing ability. Those guys, I've got respect for. You tell them to hit a C sharp on the third level, C3, whatever it would be. They hit it.
You have to hear it a lot
Yeah, well, I know.
to memorize it.
And they also have this ability to do that, too. The key of C is right here. Not that you need to know the key of C, but that's the one without any sharps or flats. Don't you love the key of C? So know that that key has no sharps or flats. It looks like that. There's a whole octave range. Da, 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 da. And lastly, online students only. Guys here, you do not have to know this, but online students have to memorize this.
It's a great...
No, you don't. I'm kidding you. But this is, if you want to know chords,
Great.
this is the circle of fifths? Is that what
Yeah.
Okay. Circle of fifths. Anyways, I think it is a torture method used by the communistic Russian...
It's so logical that it's great.
Okay. So if you want to know where some of this we're talking about comes from, it's this thing that God created. Did God create music?
Yes.
All right. Take a short break.